Let's have a look at adding and subtracting integer numbers. So here's a couple of things that we need to remember. So if I've got a positive number and I'm subtracting a positive number from it, what I can do is I can change two things. So I can first of all change this minus into a plus, and when I do that I need to do the opposite to the sign that comes after it. So equally, so that means that if I have a positive, it becomes a negative, negative becomes a positive. So our second one there, that negative is going to become a positive, and so therefore this negative is going to become a positive, and so on. So let's have a look at using some of these rules. So here we've got some straight addition ones to start with, using our integer values. So first question, nice and straightforward. The question is 1 plus 3. So I've got my number line there, and I just want to show you this so you've got a visual to help us with the other questions. So I'm going to start at the number 1. Okay, so I'm starting at the number 1, and I'm adding on 3. So it means I'm going up by 3 units. I'm jumping up by 3. So that takes me to positive 4, which we should all know. Okay. The important thing was to note that I started at the first number, okay, and then the plus tells me I was going that direction, so this is what I want to take into account. So use the same idea for the next one, 3 plus negative 4, so I'm going to start at the number 3, so there's my starting point, and I'm adding on, which adding would normally be that direction. However, I've got a minus there. I'm adding on negative 4, so that means I'm going to go backwards because the negative means to go down. So I'm actually going to be going down this way, and I'm going to go back by 1, 2, 3, 4, and that is going to take me to negative 1. So what has actually happened there is I've gone 3, and that plus and the minus next to each other has become a minus. And so 3 minus 4 is negative 1. Let's try the next question. So again, the first number there, negative 1, that's my starting point. So I'm starting at negative 1. I'm adding on negative 3. So then again, I've got a positive and a negative next to each other, so that is going to combine to become a negative. So that becomes negative 1, take away 3. So I'm starting at negative 1, and I'm going back by 3, and that takes me to negative 4. Our fourth one here, negative 5 plus 4, so I'm going to start at negative 5. I'm adding on 4, so I'm going up by 4 units, and that takes me to negative 1. So those are ones when we're just adding on numbers. Let's have a look at some examples when we're subtracting numbers. So our first one here, 4 take away 3. Again, the first number, it's where I start at, so I'm starting at 4. And I'm taking away 3, so I'm going back by 3 units, takes me to positive 1. Hopefully that's all okay. This next one, and you can see I've just accidentally written a little bit more than I wanted to. So 1 take away negative 3, so I'm going to start at positive 1. Now take away would normally mean I'm going to go that way, but because I'm subtracting negative 3, the negative would mean it's a double negative, so I'm actually going to go this direction. So those two negatives next to each other, what happens is I'm going to change that negative into a plus, and that means the number changes, and in this case changes from being negative to being positive. So I'm going up by 3 units, and that's going to take me to positive 4. Same idea for this next one. I'm starting at negative 1. Now remember, negative 1, I can change that to a positive, but that means I've got to change the sign. So negative 1 plus negative 4, so that's actually more complicated than it already is. Let's leave that as negative 1 minus 4. Minus means I'm going that direction. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's taking me down to negative 5. And this last one here, I've got 2 negatives next to each other in the middle. That's going to make a positive. So that's the same as negative 1 plus 4. So I'm going to start at negative 1, and I'm going to add on 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That takes me to positive 3.